Hi everyone, it's Evangeline here at eTrailer, and today we'll be taking a look at our Yakima ReelDeal Fishing Rod Holder. This can carry up to 8 fishing rods. It's a locking carrier, and it can also be used as a ski and snowboard carrier. We're going to take a look at this carrier right here on our 2014 Toyota Prius V. So you have your Prius V, you have those great MPGs, you have that great carrying capacity, but what if you also want to carry your fishing rods to the water? A great way to do so is with a fishing rod holder. I personally prefer the ones that are like a box, that way they are enclosed, but this is going to be an easier and faster way to load and unload your fishing rods as well as your skis and snowboards. So in this video we're going to take a look at some different specs, some different measurements, but focus on how it works here with our Prius V. The ReelDeal is very similar to Yakima's FreshTrack ski and snowboard carrier. A lot of the ski and snowboard carriers from other brands are multi-purpose. They're also fishing rod carriers and they're ski and snowboard carriers. In our case here, while this is multi-purpose, it's designed specifically for those who do want to carry fishing rods. You have some different design features, like the way it's easier to open up the top clamp. Another thing is going to be this is a bit more low profile and small compared to the Yakima FreshTrack. If you are using this to carry fishing rods, remember that you can carry up to 8 fishing rods. If you do have fishing rods that are over 7 feet long, though, you will have to break them down first before you mount them. So some vehicles have raised rails which allow you to adjust where you want to place your crossbars. In our case here, since it is a naked roof, we are stuck to a certain spot. So here for our crossbars, we have a crossbar spread of about 29 inches apart from one crossbar to the other, and you're going to have specific crossbar requirements depending on what you're carrying. If you're carrying fishing rods, you need to have a crossbar spread within 24 to 36 inches apart. If you're carrying skis and snowboards, those that are under 67 inches need to be like 12 to 24 inches apart. If they're over 67 inches, you can have it up to 12 to 36 inches apart. The roof clearance is pretty decent on the ReelDeal on the Prius V. So from the top of the roof to the bottom of our fishing rod, it's about 8 inches of clearance. If you have skis or snowboards that are a bit larger, you're going to have that too. Notice also where our reels are. Not all crossbars work the same way, especially on the Prius V. With your sloped front roof, you're going to have to be very careful about what kind of brand of crossbars you have, because you will have an angle that you'll have to work with. So here Inno does a pretty good job with having this special pad just to give ourselves a little bit of a more even or level surface. It still angles downwards. So I have this placed on our crossbars. The clamps themselves are about 13¼ inches apart. That'll help you figure out if you have enough overhang. If not, I have them mounted to the overhang just to make it easier to open up this button. So here we have pretty normal sized reels, and we have plenty of space. So that 8 inches of clearance is helpful with those reels. Now, if you need to, you can also get the lift for the ReelDeal just to get yourself a little extra height. So we have 2 different security features. The first one is obviously going to be our lock cores, and these are actually Yakima same key system lock cores. If you have other Yakima accessories, you can get them all keyed alike with the proper lock cores. Another security feature is on the clamps. We'll take a look at that later. But the lock cores hold down our button, and if they're locked, you won't be able to press the button. With them unlocked, you have some really nice features here, because you can either use your palm, push up on that button, or you can just sneak up from underneath and just use this cute little latch, and that goes up too. So I'm using the longer Inno crossbars because it gives me a little bit more overhang and I have more crossbar space. So I have this mounted to the overhang of my Prius V, which makes it very easy for me to grab my fishing rods, just reach in, and I'm ready to go. So with the fishing rods off, we get to take a closer look at the carrier itself. So you have this rubber padding on the inside. This is actually more of a firm padding than what I see on our normal ski and snowboard carriers. We have that flat base, very helpful for those fishing rods because it gives them a more level surface. And since it is made of rubber, it adds that extra grip but also cushion. This says it can carry up to 8 fishing rods, but that really depends on the size of your reels or the size of your fishing rod. So your usable rubber pad length is going to be measured here at the top because that's where it sits shorter, and that's going to be about 15.5 inches of usable length. This is made of aluminum, and you have this interesting design up here, especially when you compare it to the FreshTrack. This is going to be lighter and smaller. When you do have your skis and snowboards on here too, you have some different options when it comes to height, and then click it all the way down. There we go. So we have this curve on the top that's going to help out with that wind drag, wind noise, making it smaller and more low profile than the FreshTrack. But compared to the Yakima Fat Cat Evo, which is even more rounded than this, I still think it sits in the middle of them. The clamps sit an inch below our crossbars. We have these arrow clamps that fit around your arrow crossbars, but also around your factory square or round crossbars. We have 3 different options here in the back depending on what kind of crossbar you have. But here on our Prius V, I wish we were able to adjust the angle a little bit more to compensate for the angle of our roof. So this is our second security feature. If you have the special Yakima 5/32 security wrench, this allows you to loosen up this bolt. Once that bolt is loosened, you can then loosen this wing nut, which then loosens this T-bolt and then allows you to move your clamp up and down. So now we can take this carrier off of our vehicle. When we're ready to put it back on, we just fit it over our crossbars, fit that T-bolt right in, turn it around to secure it, and just like that, we're ready to go. What I did to try to compensate for the angle of our roof, as you can see, the one behind me looks great, very level. And then when I tighten this down, I pull it as much towards the center of the roof as I can and then tighten it down. So you saw our fishing rods up on this carrier. They were still safe. The rubber on the inside helped out with that too, and I wasn't bending them too much. So my personal thoughts about this fishing rod carrier as well as the ski and snowboard carrier is I do like how it's designed to be very sleek. It has that angler look with all those different angles. It's more low profile as well compared to the FreshTrack, which is important when you are driving around a Prius V. Now, for other options, we do have different fishing rod holders right here at eTrailer. You might be interested in a more premium option, which is going to be the truck stole. That has an enclosed fishing rod holder if you want to take care of them as you're on the road and you're worried about the wind. Another option too is going to be the Yakima Fat Cat Evo. That can give you some angling options. That way you can compensate for the angle of your roof, and that might help you out on the long run too with your fishing rods. And that was a look right here at our Yakima ReelDeal Fishing Rod Holder here on our 2014 Toyota Prius V.